I don't have the perfect setup, camera, or mic, but I think the intention of trying to help other people matters more than the equipment you have, and I'm just going to get started. With that said, I want to share with you how I went from $30,000 in credit card debt to making multiple six figures a year in under 2 years. Quick story going back to 2020 when this journey started. We all know the world was upside down. I had just found out I was about to be a dad. And again, I was $30,000 in credit card debt, and I was living in my parents' garage at the time. And my biggest fear was being a deadbeat dad, and I had this time ticking clock that my son was going to come in 9 months. And the last thing I ever wanted to do was to be a broke father, not be able to provide, not be able to give life experiences. So I started looking for opportunities. That's step number one. You got to look for opportunities, and typically opportunities will not come in the way you expect them to come. They will not look the way you expect them to look. They might look like hard work, they might look like risk, but trust me, your gut, I believe, if you really listen, will tell you what the right move is to do. I was looking for two things when I was looking for the next vehicle. Number one, I was looking for a product or service that truly helped the consumer buying it. I chased money my entire life, and it never came in absorbent amounts because all I was doing was trying to make as much money as I possibly can. I had it backwards. Number one, I was trying to master money when I wasn't trying to master myself. You will never out earn the person that you are. I've seen it happen sometimes, and it's short lived, and those guys or girls lose their money because they haven't mastered themselves or became the person they needed to be to maintain or continue to grow. So for 10 years, I was chasing money, and it never came because I was resisting what I needed to do, which was work on myself, how I was thinking, my habits, and more importantly, what to say no to. With a little bit of luck and being open minded, I came across the solar industry. Solar is a booming industry, it is a huge need right now. Monopolies and utility companies are outdated. Rates are continuing to increase. And it's not a matter of if somebody's going to go solar, it's really just a matter of when they will. So I actually fell into the solar industry and I just started shadowing somebody. That's all I did. I found somebody who was doing well in the industry and I asked, hey, I possibly want to join your team, possibly want to learn how this industry works. Can I shadow you for a little bit? I found somebody that, important to note, I had built a little bit of a relationship before asking for that. And he was nice enough to say yes. And it just so happened that he was growing as well and he was looking for other reps. So I shadowed him for almost a month and I realized that it's good for the consumer and it's something that I believed I could do. And I went to work. One important thing to note as well is that I didn't just go to work. Number one, I had a big reason to win big, and it was bigger than myself. Every time I was working for myself, by myself, I was losing. One thing I've realized is whenever I'm working for something else or somebody else or a bigger purpose or something bigger than me, I typically can push a lot further, a lot harder, which is when you usually start to see the results you're looking for. And so obviously that reason was my son. I had a 9 month time clock in my head and I needed to absolutely crush it because I wanted to be able to give that kid an amazing life and be able to say no, but not have to say no. So step number one on going from broke to multiple six figures a year in income is number one, you have to have a big reason to win. I don't know what that is for you, but for me, it was my son. Number two is in two parts. You got to find a viable vehicle that you can go and win. And number two, you need somebody within that vehicle to give you guidance, right? This would be a team or a mentor or somebody that's still in the game that has your best interest in heart. Number one. Number two is also doing the work actively. So you can just mimic exactly what they're doing that's working and you can go do it for yourself. You got to go look at that person and not only what he's making or what he's doing, but you also, I believe, have to ask yourself, is this person somebody that would be a quality person to be around in my life? If they're making a ton of money, but they got terrible negative habits, they got vices, you could tell if they're not a good person. They may be making a lot of money, but I'm telling you, it's short lived, and that may not be a person that you want to follow or leverage as somebody that's a role model for you in that industry, because there's a chance you might just end up doing the same thing they're doing. So you got to find somebody that's winning. You got to find a viable vehicle, and you got to make sure the person that you're following is at least a decent human being that's winning at a high level. And there's a lot out there, by the way. Third thing I did was I accepted 100% responsibility for my success, but also my failures. And I became super, super resourceful. I had a vision of what I wanted to do. Okay. I set a goal. Okay. If I'm going to provide for my son, that means I want to buy him a home. I need this much for taxes. I need this much for down payment, closing costs, so on and so forth. Number came down that I came down to, I wanted to make my first year was I wanted to make $250,000 my first year. Big goal, from negative $30,000 in net worth to making $250,000 your first year in an industry you've never done before, which included, by the way, knocking doors and doing sales. It was a big goal. Some might say it was unrealistic. Doesn't matter, because to me, I was realistic about the work and sacrifice that it was going to take to get there. And I went after it every single day. I knew exactly how much I wanted to make, and I reverse engineered it to how many installs I needed to get per month, per year, how many people and homeowners I needed to get in front of on a daily basis. Because for me, conceptualizing making $250,000 a year was tough to believe most days. But if I can say, hey, I just need to go have 20 to 25 quality conversations with people that make decisions that own a home, I can conceptualize it, and I can believe that more than I can believe I'm going to make $250,000. And that's what I focused on. I had the goal that I was shooting for, but I focused on doing the activity on a daily basis that would get me there. Guess what? We didn't hit it. We'd made a little bit less than $250,000 our first year. But guess what? We missed our goal. We just missed our $250,000 our first year. But doesn't matter. No, to me it doesn't, because if I was shooting for maybe 80,000 my first year or 100,000 my first year, I probably would have also just missed that target. I'm okay with just missing for something that's larger than something that's smaller. The point is, I got a lot further along. I learned and I got better. And my second year in the industry, I almost tripled my income. And I entered the multiple six-figure range. I bought a house. I'm debt-free, other than the mortgage, of course. The bad debt doesn't exist as far as credit cards. Those are now paid off every month. My kid has a huge backyard he can play in. He only eats organic for the most part, unless he's eating candy and chocolate, which he does pretty often. I got to a point that, as far as liquid cash and investments go, I'm trending towards goals that are a lot bigger now. And I'm entering my third year in the industry right now, and I'm excited to see where we go. But number one, I had a big reason to win. Number two, I had a vehicle and I had some guidance. Number three, I took responsibility for my success and my failures. And if there was things that I didn't know how to do, one of the biggest things that I did that catapulted me to have success, I think, early on, was I was looking at people that were winning at a high level, not just in my immediate circle, but in different states. And I reached out to them. And I said, hey, I'm brand new. I love what you're doing. I see you crushing it. What are you doing that's working? And I would pick their brain for maybe 5 minutes. Some of them would go on longer. They loved sharing success. And I found that to be true. Typically, people that are winning in life and that are doing a lot better than you typically want to see you win as well. And the most important thing about being coachable, in my opinion, is how fast you can implement what you're learning. I don't think there's anything more disrespectful than asking somebody for their time and them literally giving you everything that has worked for them, that has transformed their life. You taking time out of the day to learn, ask questions, take notes, and then you don't go implement. What are you doing? That's what I was doing for a long time, but I didn't do it over these past 2 years. I found a way that immediately after getting off of that phone call or leaving that coffee that I met that person, or Zoom, whatever it was, I found a way to implement something that I took away from that phone call into my business that day or that hour immediately. Whether it was trying a new script, whether it was following up with the homeowner, showing up to my site audits to increase my realization rate. If you're in the solar industry, you know what that means. I found a way to implement it, and I did it quickly. And I think if you know how to do things but you don't do it, it's the same thing as not knowing them. So I became resourceful. I had a big vision for myself, and I got after it. Number four, my goal, the number one reason I was here was my son So yes, I wanted to make $250,000 a year, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And not from an aspect of I need more money, 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 but from an aspect of just having an objective reality. Living in Southern California, buying a home, $250,000 a year kind of only gets you by a little bit. Yeah, you don't really have to worry about the small bills. You get to travel a little bit. But in my opinion, when I reached that level, it really only made me realize that I was so much more capable for so much more. It wasn't about let's make more money, let's buy new things. It was like I had a new perspective on life and I leveled up and I realized, hey, there's more levels as well. Let's go reach those. And it wasn't let's go make this much more money. It's hey, who do I need to become in order to get to that level? Because that's what got me here. It was going into number 5, eliminating distractions. Tim Grover said it best. If you spend your life trying to get your shit together, all you're going to end up with is just a pile of shit. And that was me. I was trying to get my bad habit self together, and all I was doing was just in this never-ending loop of starting something, not finishing, getting frustrated, moving on to a new opportunity. That was me. What I realized that I had to do was just eliminate. It wasn't to get together. I had to eliminate. Hopefully you've seen that photo of that statue that's chiseling at himself that was once a rock and he's turning into this ripped person, right? And that's what I needed to do. I needed to eliminate things. So it wasn't what I said yes to that led to success, but more so what I said no to. I stopped partying. For 15 months, you didn't see me out unless I was at a work event or they were taking us traveling to a cool incentive. I wasn't really going to bars and clubs like I was before. I was way too focused, way too engaged, and it was so easy to say no because I was winning. It was so easy to say no because I was too busy. It's hard to say no to the club when you got nothing to do the next day on a Saturday morning. But when I got a 9 a.m. meeting with the client, I got a 12 p.m. meeting with the client, I got an 8 a.m. sales training meeting with the team, I can't afford to be out all night and be tired because I'm going to ruin the next day. I'm going to waste all of those people's time. It's disrespectful to myself, and it's disrespectful to everybody that's on the calendar for the next day. So I got way too busy to say yes to things that were hurting me. And it was way easier to say no to things that were hurting me. Number 1. Number 2, I was truly leveraging social media as strictly business. Right now, if there's no possible way for you to leverage your Instagram, your Facebook, your Snapchat, or your TikTok to increase the value in your life, you need to eliminate those things. Let's be real. You might trick yourself into thinking, well, if I post a story here and there, people are going to know that I'm in this industry. And yes, that may be true. But if you don't have the willpower to stay disciplined, to not be on your damn phone all day, you're going to trick your brain into thinking that you're doing the work necessary when that's just not the case. So it's so easy. I'm telling you, if you don't have to delete your account, just delete the app off your phone. You're going to be surprised on how many times that day you check your phone and go for the app and realize it's not there. And you're going to have moments of realizing that you are an addict to those apps. You are a slave to those apps. They have control over your mind completely. It's also making you seek false praise for things you aren't actually achieving. Remove yourself from social media. And hopefully social media led you this video, but at the same time, I hope you never see a video of mine ever again if it leads you to delete the social medias off of your phone to help you achieve the dream life that you're looking for. So you need to eliminate those distractions. They might be relationships, but we can all start. That's something that's universal. We can all start with social media. Get off of it. Last but not least, I accepted the work that came with the goals that I had in mind. I was working a job before the industry, and I just told myself, hey, what if I just put the 60 hours a week that I'm putting into this job into the solar industry? How can I lose? If I'm talking to 25 qualified homeowners per day, how can I lose? Number 1, my axe is getting sharper every single day. Number 2, I'm becoming more confident because I'm doing the work I know is necessary to achieve the goals that I want. And number 3, it's a law of averages. It's a numbers game. So if I'm running the numbers, I can't lose. I accepted the hours that it was going to take to get to where I wanted. And to be honest, it was a lot more than 60 hours a week. I didn't have a time clock. I can tell you this with wholeheartedly. My first 18 months in the business, and even till today, I mean, when my eyes open, I'm working until my eyes close. My son was born, I was able to clock out for a few hours a day, which was awesome. And the whole reason that I work this job is time freedom. But at the same time, you got to accept the work and hours it takes to get where you're trying to go. If you want to make a quarter million, 300, 400, 500 grand a year, you're not going to do it working 40 hours a week. And if somebody told you that, they're lying. And maybe they're not actually. If there's an opportunity where you can do it, you can make $500,000 a year working 10, 20 hours a week. Email me. I'd like to know about it. But I'm going to be making a lot more videos like this and try to give some tactical guidance to somebody who may not have an immediate mentor, where they can go watch this video, end the video, not stay on their phone, and find a way to go implement it.